Peace and God bless. Yah is a strong one. The strong one is Yah. He's a tree of life. He's the fountain of living waters. He is the spirit and creator of all things that live and breathe. On this particular discourse, I'm going to talk about some of the current events around the world and in the future. As you can see here, by what you're seeing cited right here, we draw near and declare what is going to take place. We declare the former events, what they were, and we consider them. We know the latter end of them. We announce to Israel what is coming. Okay? So that's what we do. We announce to Israel what is coming, what's down the road, what's coming down the pipeline, things that many people cannot see. Okay, so the first topic we're going to talk about is the election. This is probably going to be one of the wildest elections probably ever on the planet Earth. All right? Ever on the planet Earth. Okay? With Biden versus Trump. When they get into these debate rooms, man, it's, the boxing gloves are really going to be on. Okay? But within this election, there's definitely a plot. Okay? And I'll get to that shortly. All right? Because as we know that Donald Trump did not agree with Biden choosing Kamala Harris as his running mate. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes too. All right? Now, you see right here, this particular article, Apple News. Postal Service watchdog to investigate service woes as worries rise about mail ballots. Reuters, okay? So there's a lot of concern right now, about mail fraud, with the mail-in votes for all those who use that. Because different people do use that particular system to vote with, okay? So I told you this is going to be a wild election. Here's another article right here. Okay, poll. Most Americans are not confident that the 2020 election will be conducted fairly. Okay, they are not confident that it will be conducted fairly. As I told you all, this is going to be one of the wildest elections, I think, in the history of all presidential elections, okay? That's how wild it's going to be. And I don't think it's going to be settled in November. I think it's going to kind of have to spill over into January because, I think you remember, I think it was President Obama. They had to go back and do the recounts. They had several recounts and they finally came out and said, okay, he won the election. Remember that? Okay. So it may be something like that. Or then again, it could be a landslide, one side or the other. You know what I mean? All right. So very interesting times, but this should be an interesting election. So, hey, go vote for those who do vote, right? Even though the Electoral College and the top of the triangle still decide the president, okay? So that's that, whether you like it or not. But, I guess your votes count into, what happens at the Electoral College, right? Here's an article out of the Independent, right? Postal Service seen hauling mailboxes away in trucks ahead of election. Now, why would they be doing that? Right? Very interesting to say the least. Okay? All right. I told you it's going to be a wild election, man. Very, very, very wild. Now, as I've told you guys in the past, Esau is trying to get the dominion back from the power elite. And the power elite know it. Okay? The power elite know it. And that's my main topic I'm going to talk about right now. Let's read this. Trump, Biden, right, is insulting men everywhere by picking women as running mates. Or picking a woman, right? Picking a woman as a running mate. Trump, for whatever reason, didn't like that. Now, maybe because he's probably read the book, Isaiah, I guess, 13. About that, where it talks about the king of Babylon, and it does mention it as the king of Babylon. It doesn't say the queen of Babylon or anything like that. but you still have these plots in the background of Esau trying to take back the dominion from the power elite. Okay, but I guess Trump didn't like that. Okay, for whatever reason, didn't like it. He just didn't like it. All right, all right. So what's going on here? All right. Now this is one of the key pieces to the puzzle. Could Kamala Harris become president of the United States? Now, see what brought that into place. At first it started out okay. She's going to be, the presumptive, right, vice president. Since Biden chose her to be that, right? Started off that way. Then you get articles popping up like this, so you start seeing the plot unraveling in front of your eyes, right? Could Kamala Harris become president of the United States? Well, how could she? She's only the presumptive vice president at this particular time. The vote hasn't even happened yet. But yet, you see how they throw articles out like this, okay? All right, these are what they call hooks, you know what I mean? To get you to start, kind of conditioning you to wherever they think they want to go with this thing, right? Because like I told you guys some time back, that they would probably use one of the presidential candidates to choose, a black female, you know what I'm saying? Okay? And then at some point get rid of him or he fake his death, whatever the case is, and then put the black female over top of the United States, which I can already tell you most of these white supremacy groups would not like, and it probably wouldn't last very long. I can guarantee you that. But it's a crazy thing, because, when Biden chose, Kamala Harris, the way Trump seen it as, you kind of sold out you sold out the Jewish woman. You know what I mean? You threw her to the wolves, And the reason Biden probably threw the Jewish women to the wolves instead of choosing, because he could have chose Sarah Palin, you know what I mean? She's very qualified, right? Been there and done that, right? On the presidential race thing, right? Okay. Also could have chose, Hillary Clinton again. A lot of people he could have chose, right? But see, when there's a plot behind things, you see things unravel in different directions than what people would normally see. Because basically what Biden probably has done, they went and read, Jeremiah 49, about the Jewish woman. She's going to serve God, right? After this judgment that Yah puts on Esau over in the land of Israel, right? So I'm sure he saw that. So, he's kind of reacting to that emotionally. Okay, well, I'll throw the Jewish woman to the wolves, and what I'll do is I'll prop the black woman up on top of the Jewish woman. And that's what you got going. So, yeah, a lot of tension going all over the earth with different things, okay? It depends on how well, you're looking at things and looking at history for you to be able to tell what's happening behind the scenes, different secret meetings and different secret plots that these people have. And I've told you guys several times they have plots about that, trying to take all of the ideas that Yah gave to me, take them over to the Edomites over to the land and, try to throw a black woman over there, with a so-called Jewish, cat, right? Which ain't going to happen. That's not the book. A lot of these sellout black women, right? Okay, then. But that's not going to happen, okay? In the UKI, as we call it. You can call it the state of Israel if you want to. I call it the UKI, soon to come, right? All right, but that's what's going on here. So Biden saw Jeremiah 49. He's like, well, okay, well, then I'll just prop the black woman on top of the Jewish woman, Basically, he's like, ha, 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 how do you like that? That sort of thing. So I'm sure that had a, he definitely formulated that in his mind first before he actually chose a candidate, okay? That's why you have articles like this. Could Kamala Harris become president of the United States of America? Okay? If he were to go off the scene, purposely or maybe non-purposely, right? Okay, anyway. So let's carry on. The plot. Did I tell you that? Remember I told you guys about the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Okay? The plot. The secret history of the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Yes, I just told you guys what the plot was. Because Esau wants to come back for the dominion of the total earth. He don't want just dominion over Israel. He wants dominion over the entire planet. Knock out all autocracy, especially houses of Rothschilds, houses of Windsor. They will not, even though they're the same people, the basic Zionist movement, they want to knock out both of those factions. and take over themselves. So how can they start accomplishing this, right? They can accomplish this by setting up a black woman as a vice president who's married to basically a Zionist Jewish type of husband, right? Okay, let's have a look at that right here. Okay, married to a basically Zionist Jewish type of husband, right? And they can use her as the front piece, but have him in the background telling her what to do. See what I'm saying? He's back in the driver's seat. So he'll have dominion. Let's put it this way. He wants to have dominion in Israel, what they call the state of Israel, and then have dominion over the United States. Okay? Through this woman right here. Through Joe Biden setting the whole thing up. Okay? See, Joe Biden set the whole thing up, brings her into the equation, right? Okay? Then he somehow mysteriously goes off the scene, which leaves her as president. As you just seen, the article I showed you, could Kamala Harris become president of the United States of America, right? Okay? Then who's her husband? Esau himself, right? Coming back for the dominion over the earth, right? All right? Because once he gets Israel and the United States, he will for sure try to knock out Rothschilds, right? Their dynasty, and try to knock out the Houses of Windsor. Because remember, they know all about the Houses of Windsor and the House of Rothschild. They know where they hide at, the underground bunkers, anything they got over there, it's already been seen by Esau. Remember, he has the dominion in the state of Israel. So he has all kind of intel. They have Mossad agents everywhere. MI6, they still work with Mossad. Okay, Interpol, they still work with Mossad. CIA, they still work with Mossad. You know, all those alphabet gangs, they call them, right? Okay, so let's move on. So that's how Esau could get back, you know, to the dominion of the United States. Okay, simple as that. As you can see right here, you see the chess pieces with the Jewish star on top of on top right there. You see that? That's what this means right here, by this protocols of the learned elders of Zion. See them back at the top in dominion over the elite. See, this is the king right here, knocked down. Represents basically Rothschild's top of the triangle. Knocked down by them, putting them back at the top. That's the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, okay? So that's what this election is all about. Esau coming back for the dominion because he thinks he has the dominion sold up over there, you know, in the state of Israel, especially after what happened in Beirut, because they feel like, oh, they spooked Iran and they spooked Hezbollah. You know, they don't want to fight. You know what I mean? Right? Right. Now let's go to the book for a second. Remember Genesis chapter number 27, verse number 40, okay? And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother, right? Right? Jacob, right? They're talking to Esau right here, okay? So Jacob and Esau, so it's talking about, right? Okay? After Isaac gave the blessing, right, to Jacob, right? So he's talking to Esau, right? So as Isaac is addressing Esau, he's telling him his ways, right? And by his sword shalt thou live. As y'all can tell in the state of Israel, man, they go over there and, you know, they have air superiority, you know, over the Palestinians. They go there, bomb anytime they want to, bomb the Gaza Strip anytime they want to. What can the Palestinians do about it? Not much, right? Because they don't have air superiority, right? Okay, now, here's the key on verse number 40. By a sword shalt thou live. Thou shalt serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke off thy neck. You see right there, okay? All right. And naturally, you see 41. Hey, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing which his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of his morning of my father at hand, I will slay my brother Jacob, right? So, see, Esau always had this in his heart. See, slay my brother Jacob. Esau, see, Esau, that's your police brutality. Esau's always doing what? Always, I'm going to slay my brother Jacob. That's always his thoughts, man. No matter what he's doing. No matter what Bible's in front of him, this is always a thought in his heart, okay? When you're dealing with, you know, a lot of these things have happened. You know, your Breonna Taylors and so on and so forth, okay? For all the ones that were real, some of that stuff ain't real. But anyway, okay? Remember this, he lives by his sword, kills Palestinians all the time, every day, got a whole bunch of them locked up for nothing over there in the state of Israel. Lives by his sword, okay? He holds the height of the hill, right? By his weaponry, okay? That's why they give $5 billion a year to them for no reason. The United States does $5 billion to them to go buy more weaponry to cause wars with. I mean, why would they do that? I just can't understand that. But anyway, all right? But you see, the key is when he shall have the dominion. See, that's always his thought. I'm gonna get the dominion back. Because he already has the dominion over his brother Jacob, right? Because he owns all these corporations. Okay? That's just a part of his dominion. But the other part of his dominion is he lives by his sword. Okay? Simple as that. As you can see right here in verses 40 and 41. All right? All right. So no different than they developed the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Now, the only reason why we can find out about this today is a lightning bolt hit the courier. There was a courier, okay, a courier, a person who carries messages right back in that day. And the courier got hit by a lightning bolt. That came from Yah. And when it killed him, they came and found the copy of these secret meetings that were going on, that Esau had secret meetings going, talking about their plan on how they would, how to plan world domination. And one of those plans was to get rid of all autocracy. Okay? No matter, all kings and queens, get rid of all of them. They don't care who it is. Okay? Because the way Esau trying to do it, they don't care about, Prince William and Prince Charles and Prince Harry. They don't want them to sit on no throne, period. Okay? If they have their way, they will find a way to get rid of every single one of them, children included, right? Okay? That's what the protocols of the learned elders of Zion is all about. You see, they got the star sitting on top of the chess piece right here, with this one knocked down. This is Esau talking about he's going to get the dominion back over the entire earth. This is the elite knocked down on the ground, especially the king, right? All right. All right. Who's the top of the triangle? Okay, Lord Rothschilds, right? Okay, simple as that. So that's what that represents. That's what that representation is right there. Them getting the dominion back, as it tells you what happened. Okay? Well, now to have the dominion. Okay? You're going to break that yoke off his neck that we had on there, right? Okay? When they got the dominion. They have the dominion to a certain degree, but they don't have it. Okay? Because the elite stand in between that dominion. Okay? All right? Remember, it's a plot, man. All right? This whole thing is plotted up. Especially when you start dealing with this right here. Joe Biden, you know what I mean? See, this shouldn't be brought into play right now because we haven't even had an election yet. Okay? We don't know if Joe Biden's going to win or not. But as you can see, the president is very alarmed by it because he knows they're trying to figure out a way to steal the election. And he knows who's behind that. Okay, he knows who's behind that. Okay, and they are trying to steal the election from Trump, without a doubt, as far as what I can see. Okay, through voter fraud or whatever the case is. All right, so they can do what? So they can do this right here. Get back to the dominion. Because once they get to the United States and get dominion over it, that's all they need. Okay? All right? As I told you. Have her as the front person speaking, but her husband in the background, Esau, have him pulling the strings. You see what I'm saying? All right. Let's talk about the UAE agreement. Okay, Palestinians slam traitor UAE for normalizing ties with Israel. Okay, what's going on with that? Well, I mean, these people go read the book, especially the 33rd chapter of Isaiah, where it talks about these ambassadors of peace. Okay? Well, I mean, they could try to make any sort of peace they want to make over there, but what does it say these ambassadors of peace is going to do? They're going to weep when they see Hezbollah take off on those Zionists in the Zionist regime in the state of Israel. When they go against them in war, they're going to weep. They're going to weep. They're going to weep. Okay? Isaiah 33, right? Okay? But the Palestinians are looking at it as them being traitors. We told the Palestinians, man, these other Arab countries know you guys are not true Arabs. Now, you can pose as Arabs. You can want to be Arabs. You can worship Allah. You can go to the Allah's mosque. You can, keep whatever day y'all keep over there, Friday, whatever it is, the Arabs still know the difference, man. So they're not being no traitor. They're like, look, man, we know the truth behind this whole thing. Y'all are actually the children of Israel. Go read the book of Hosea. They done went and read. Go read Isaiah. They know, man. It's not hard to ascertain these facts, man. They do a little bit of research to find out. All right? So a lot of interesting things going on. Now, let's, right here. This Nasrallah. Nasrallah suggests Israel behind Beirut blast. It says calls for action. Okay? He's like, yo, we find out that the Edomites, okay, the Zionist regime was one behind that blast in Beirut. He calling for action for Hezbollah to take off on them, like we told you Hezbollah was going to do, man. Remember, we tell you guys, what did I tell you at the very beginning of this presentation, this discourse? We tell you what's coming. We look to the past first. We see the past, then we look to the future. And we tell you what's going to take place before it happens. Okay, that's part of our job. Even though the prophets have already put it in this book, but many people don't read the book. So they don't know what's supposed to happen. You know, they just live their everyday lives. But yeah, Hezbollah at some point is going to take off on that Zionist regime, without a doubt, man. Okay? Without a doubt. That's what set their judgment. That's what set their judgment. The minute that happened, the judgment of Esau set, man. Just whenever, Yah the king gets ready. Okay? But very, very, very interesting things happening with this mail fraud and all that, man. I mean, that's unbelievable. Okay? We draw near and declare what is going to take place. That's what we do. But this is definitely going to be one of the wildest elections in history, I think. Now, the legacy of Donald Trump. Many of you have seen me publicly speak with the president about different things, and I don't mind speaking with him. I'm supposed to. I give advice. I give sound advice. I give wonderful counsel about different things, many things, because I have the right and the knowledge to do so, okay, to be giving out such advice. But his legacy is going to be based on what he does over the next 3 or 4 months, okay, because we have to return to what they call the land of Israel. We're going to change the name when we get there. But what they call the state of Israel today, what they established in 1948, will have to be reestablished. All the borders drawn up correctly according to the book of Ezekiel. Okay, and they've seen this because I've seen it on one of the websites. So they kind of now understand what's supposed to happen. Okay? But they're not going to be allowed to do it because it's not their job to do. Okay? So as you all remember, the popularity of King Cyrus and King Darius, the Persian kings, right? All right? In the books of Ezra and Nehemiah. All right? Also the book of Esther, right? Xerxes. What was the main thing that gave them their popularity that we talk about today? I'm talking about King Cyrus and King Darius, the Persian kings. That they did what? They allowed the children of Israel to come out of the old Babylon and go back to the land of Israel and build what was called at that time the second temple. Okay? That was their legacy and is the biggest legacy of King Cyrus and Darius. Okay? It doesn't matter what else they did. Nobody cares about them clashing with the Babylonians, even though they defeated the Babylonians in the book of Daniel. What they're known for is what? What happened with allowing the children of Israel to return to build the second temple during that particular time period, okay? All right, very important. Now, is Donald Trump similar to Darius, King Cyrus? I would say definitely, okay? But his legacy is going to be dependent on whether we return home or not. Because they're going to try everything they can to try to end his presidency. Through vote. Okay, through vote. All right. All right. That's what they're going to try to do. And I think he already knows this. That's why he's already, he's blowing the trumpets already. You know what I mean? He's like, oh, they're going to try to steal the election, man, through fraud. Okay. And then we're going to go home at some point, whether it's underneath Donald Trump or underneath whoever's Biden, whoever's next. Okay? But his legacy And everything that he's did over these 4 years will culminate with him if he does the right thing and does what Yah asked him to do and return these children to Israel. Then he'll have the biggest legacy of all presidents ever born. No president has ever returned the true children of Israel back to the land of Israel. I'm talking about Jerusalem, not going over no Africa, man. Okay, that's not where we belong. Okay, this Jerusalem movement has to return to Jerusalem. Okay, simple as that. As the book states, as they have written, read, and seen. Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 55, the last 1/3 part of this movement has to return back to our former estate, okay, in Israel, what they call the state of Israel today, all right? We have to return back to the capital city and not going through Africa and all that, not for those who serve in the Most High, okay? Now, that is the way he should end his legacy, should he be voted out in November. It should not end that he gets voted out by fraud or by any other means, and he didn't do what he was supposed to do according to God, okay? And allow, what do you call, Sleepy Joe, that makes me laugh, Sleepy Joe Biden to do it. And then Sleepy Joe Biden gets the all the accolades for doing so. Okay? Don't think Joe Biden don't know. He's already heard. Okay? All right? All right. So that will be his legacy, and that'll be a part of his legacy. We hope that God brings it about for him to do. That way he can live that legacy out and say, hey, I got voted out, but I took the children of Israel back. Okay? The temple was getting ready to be built, just as Cyrus and Darius did, the 2 Persian kings during their time. Okay? So we hope and we pray, because I'm sure the people over here in Babylon are ready for us to go. Yes, they are. Okay? So we hope and we pray that God will allow him the opportunity, and that he'll be smart enough to do so. Okay? Preferably before the election. Okay? We don't want to wait till after the election. If it takes that long, then it does. But, we don't want to wait till after the election and then he gets voted out by fraud. You know what I mean? And then he doesn't get the opportunity that's been afforded him over these last 4 years to do so. He could have already done it. Okay? Let's don't wait till the last minute to do a thing. All right? All right. So we hope that if his presidency ends, we hope that it ends on a high note and not a low note. Getting voted out by voter fraud and you know what I mean, not being able to have that as a part of his legacy that no other president has ever been able to do or accomplish. Not peace in the Middle East with the United Arab Emirates. Peace in the Middle East will come when we get there, because Yah is going to foster it, and that's a part of our platform to bring that, okay? All right? The Zionists will have to be removed at some point. Yeah, they will have to be. That's the book, man. Jeremiah 49, right? All right. Like I said, they threw the Jewish women to the wolves, man. They said, "Oh man, forget the Jewish woman. We'll take the black woman. We'll prop her up on top of the Jewish woman." Okay? Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna let you all do your own research on that. Figure it out. Read between the lines yourself. All right. Anyway, that's enough. That's all the news for this week. So thank you all for listening. Peace. And y'all bless.